winning weekend for you, and it did prove, and Chris Porter said it, that white flag hasn't been raised and lifted, has it?
No, I was I've been on my pro license this weekend, and John Massigno, the first team coach at Oxford, is on it as well, and he said we're one of the best teams we've played. He said the manager had come out, I haven't seen his post-match stuff, and said it was a terrific 3 points, and I think you can see from our performance against Oxford that that's not the case. We deserved to win that game 100%, and both teams staff felt that, but we didn't. So then you've got to go and pick yourself up, and you go to Cambridge. I think they've only lost 2 or 3 times at home all season. It's a tough place to go. We've found that, recently playing them at their place. I don't think we've beaten them there for 10 years or so. So we know it was important to get 3 points, irrespective of performance, really. But I thought we played well again, and if we keep playing well, we will pick up points and wins. And there's not that much difference in this league. There's obviously some big teams with big resources and what have you. But if you play well, then you've always got a chance of winning a game. So that white flag's certainly not going to from none of the players, none of the staff, and it won't. I'll refuse to let that happen.
From a player's perspective, though, to be on that run of defeats and all of a sudden win, do you get a sense when you come in for the following week that is a different feel about it, or is it the same?
One swallow doesn't make a summer. However, it might make spring. So you've got to make sure you've got to take the positives out of it and say, right, here we go. Is it the start? It's got to be the start. We've got a tough game. We've got a tough run of games coming up. We've got to make sure that we pick up the points the way we can pick up the points. And if we do that, then we'll continue to give ourselves a fighting chance.
You've talked about one swallow doesn't make the summer, but if ever there was a time that you need a run of results, it is now. There's no doubt about that. Time is running out, but there's still enough time.
Yeah, of course. You've seen with Gillingham won 3 on the spin or whatever it is, and they're suddenly, I don't know where they are, but they'll be out of it or close to getting out of it, and we've got to do the same. And if you do that, then you give yourself a fighting chance.
Your winning goals came from your 2 strikers that you put together. They've got experience. You've got a very young side. We've talked about that. How big of a role do them 2 lads play for you? Because you've paired them together a few times this season. Not enough probably as you would have liked, but they can score goals, can't they?
Yeah. They're both good goal scorers. They've proved that in their career already, and they did on Saturday. And we've got to make sure that they're both go on a run. And not just them, you've got to. Danager's got to score some goals, and Bass, and amongst others, the midfielders, centre halves. It didn't really get noticed, but Port's winner was Conor O'Reilly and got a great little touch for the corner, and it took it into Port's path, made all the difference. And it's little things like that we've got to make sure that we continue to do. Because them little touches. That does make the difference.
But they can also play that big part, can't they? As we said, we haven't got too many players with experience. Luke Murphy, Dave Richards, added to Chris Porter and Chris Long. But it's key, isn't it? Because you have got a very young group who need guidance.
Yeah, we have. I think if you take Chris Porter out of the team, we've got the youngest team by a fair distance. Obviously, he skews the results slightly, being 38. And they're all at the start of their journey, by and large. There's 1 or 2 that isn't. Dan Aggie at 24, 25, he's played enough games. You've got Luke Offord, who's played probably enough games, but at one club, and has only seen one way. But then you've got Lungy and Ports, and that's probably about it with Trigger. So the rest have got to not just survive, they've got to step up to the plate, and that's hard to do at times. But at the same time, they're going to be given all the love and support and care and guidance that they need to get the career going, and hopefully they produce the goods in the next 6-8 weeks.
It's been a game and a half now in the team for Josh Lundstrom. He had a steady Eddie game for you again at the weekend. He's gone into another role than the midfield. How do you see that, and how do you see him developing? Really, do you see him as though that could be his role, or do you see it long-term midfield?
Not sure. Is an honest answer. I think, you know, we speak often in our office about sort of introductory positions. If you're going to play down the spine of the team, do you have to have some games sort of slightly out of the firing line off the side, you know, full back before you go centre half, etc. You know, wide midfield, wing back before you go midfield. You know, that's could quite possibly be the case for Josh. Or you end up doing such a good job that you end up staying there. You know, the plan for Pixie was always to go back in the middle of the pitch, and he was at number 10 all the way through, or a high midfielder, and he was that good a fullback that we kept him there, and he's going to go on and have a terrific career, you know, as a left back. So there's no, even at this late stage, we're still not pigeonholing players. We're still trying to give them the best opportunities to develop and become the best version of them. What I would say for the last game and a half, he's done ever so well, Josh, ever so well, and been a breath of fresh air, I have to say. 3-5-2
back to last weekend as well. Do you think, with what you've got at your disposal at the moment, with the players that are fit and the players that you've got to choose in your first 11, it suits you better of what you're trying to achieve?
I think you know, when you top of League Two, for example, and you've got the best team in the league, you can play your formation and your formation only, and everyone else has got to worry about you. I think when you're in the position we're in, we've got to make sure that we are tactically fluid. You know, to try and outflank the opposition, if you like. You know, we changed at the weekend. You know, the last 10-15 minutes, whatever it was. You know, and I think we've got to do that. I think we have to do that.
You spoke briefly about Conor Reardon, how he's come into the team without having any sort of backup from going out or whatever from under 23 football at 17, 18 into League One level, but just about the other lad, Zac Phillips, who also came in and made a very good impression. What's the update with him? Can you give us an XP of where you are, and do you expect to see him back? He
sort of did 2/3 of training yesterday for the first time. He's back at the specialist today for an update and, you know, medication and all that kind of stuff. We'll know more this afternoon and tomorrow, and hopefully, you know, he'll continue to regain what he needs to you know, how he needs to be, if you like, to get back in the first team. We'll give him all. Again, he's a 17-year-old lad that we're trying to, as always, this isn't because of the situation he's in, but we'll always give him as much support and love and guidance as we can. And Zac's no different. It's just a different aspect, if you like. Conor Reardon's the same. You know, what does he need? How does he need it? You know, he's at college today, for example. So it's you know, it's just managing each individual. It doesn't matter whether they're 17 or 37. We've got to manage each individual to get the best out of them. Have you had any good news on any of the others? Was a couple were due to get out on the training ground. Is it improving any of the others? If you mean Rio needs an operation, he'll be out for 4 months, then no. And Scott Cashew, he was one I thought was getting a bit closer. He's getting there slowly. We'll see where he's at. Mika's getting there. He's started to run, but just in straight lines. So we'll be, you know, I think in the next 2 weeks, hopefully we'll have a bit more good news. Well, Wycombe are a side that you were very unfortunate against when you went down there, and they've been flying high for most of the season. They've got a game tonight that you're probably going to assess, but it's a bit similar to a Cheltenham sort of style. Do you feel that you survived and did well with at the weekend, that you can be ready for them? Yeah, you know, I'm off to see him tonight. Well, I don't think we're going to be surprised with what Wycombe do. That doesn't mean to say that they aren't very good. You know, the last season of the Championship, and they very, very nearly held their own You know, it's only because they had a real poor start that they didn't. And that, you know, you go, well, you have to make sure you stand up to that. I thought we stood up on Saturday to Cheltenham's on throws and corners and free kicks really well. I'm sure it'll be very similar on Saturday. We've got to make sure that, you know, we conceded from a second phase, deflected strike, their first goal early on the season, and then a sort of long throw that went short and a cross come in the box, so a second phase long throw, if you like, in the 97th minute. And we've got to make sure that we don't just defend first phase, we defend second and third phases. And if we do that, then we've got a chance of beating them.
Well, I can't go without saying congratulations. You got that 100th win. It took a bit longer than I wanted it to happen because I've been choking it off for 8 games.
I didn't know that.
It was your 100th win, and that's a bit of a good achievement for you. I know you don't put it down to yourself, but a 100th win finally as a manager.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't even know I won 99. Yeah, look, it is what it is. Let's have another 100.
What's changed? You could say in this last few months you've learned more probably than you've ever done as a manager. What's changed from when you go back to January 17 to where you are March 22?
Well, you're certainly more battle weary. I think that's a fair thing to say. I think you're right. Definitely learnt more in the last 6 months than I did in probably the previous 4 years, really. I'm actually, like I say, most managers won't experience what I've personally been through in the last 6 months, because normally they lose the job. And it doesn't half make you a better manager when you're trying to work it all out and you know, trying to find where you need to go and plot. It doesn't half stand you in good stead, but we know we're coming in far worse circumstances. It was all disjointed, and we're a league lower, and we built a very good team, and we're in the process of building another one. And we'd rather not have a lull like we have done in the first few months of this season. But we also know that we'll be able to get this group of players with a few additions along the way, as it always is, where we need to be, and that's firstly to remain in League One, and then to be competitive, and then to challenge at the top end. And if we do that, then you know we'll have another 100 wins.
For the few dark times that you've had, you wouldn't change it, would you?
No.
You love your football manager's job.
Yeah. Let me tell you, if you don't love it, you'll be done. It's all consuming. It's, you know, you do work. I think I sent my last email at maybe it was 10 to 11 last night, having got in at 7 from the pro licence. You know, it's all day there. You know, going to Wickham tonight, won't be until whatever 12. You know, etc. Fans Forum Thursday night, all day. You know, Friday, where we're at home, aren't we? So, you know, Friday night at home. It is. This is not me wanting sympathy. That's just the nature of the job. I'm just sort of saying it how it is. Would I rather have that than work in an Amazon factory? Well, I would. And like I say, if you don't like it, there's plenty of other jobs, both in football and out of football, that'll have you.